Have you ever watched a fight where one fighter seems to be losing badly, only to suddenly come out on top in the end? It's almost like the whole fight changes in a split second. Sometimes, it feels like destiny is on their side. In today's video, we're going to explore the top 5 times in MMA history when fighters turn the fight around against all odds. Let's dive into these incredible turnarounds. 1. Diaz vs. McGregor 2. The Ultimate Redemption. Conor McGregor came into this rematch with a lot to prove. In their first fight, Nate Diaz shocked the world by defeating McGregor in the second round, handing Conor his first loss in the UFC. This was supposed to be McGregor's chance at redemption. Early in the second fight, McGregor was dominating. He was landing brutal leg kicks, and it seemed like Nate couldn't do anything about it. McGregor even dropped him with a big left hand, looking perfect as the fight went on. But Nate Diaz is like that one friend who refuses to leave the party early, no matter how much the night is dragging on. He wasn't about to let McGregor walk away with an easy victory. In the second round, Nate started to pressure McGregor, sensing that the Irishman was tiring. As the rounds wore on, Diaz became more aggressive, landing clean punches that left McGregor looking like he had just walked into a windmill fight. In the end, Nate Diaz's ability to weather the storm and turn up the pressure was the key to his comeback.
Redemption. Beautiful takedown by Nate Diaz. In the final seconds of the 5th round. Could be huge on the judges' scorecards. Wow. What a fight.
McGregor might have been ahead, but Nate turned it into a drama-filled thriller. 2. Sanchez vs. Guida. From desperation to victory. Diego Sanchez vs. Clay Guida was one of the most exciting and wild fights in UFC history. Sanchez came out with his usual high-energy style, attacking Guida with everything he had, including flying knees and hard punches. But Clay Guida, ever the "I'm going to tough this out" guy, managed to weather the storm. He stayed calm even as Sanchez unleashed his full hurricane of strikes, with the intensity of a toddler trying to avoid nap time. Guida, bloodied but clearly more patient, turned the fight around with his wrestling. Sanchez, meanwhile, probably realized he was running out of energy faster than a phone with 1% battery. By the third round, Guida was in complete control, looking like a wrestling coach's dream. The fight became a back-and-forth brawl with Sanchez losing his steam, while Guida kept pressing with the grace of someone who just had a 4-hour coffee break. Guida took the fight to the ground like he was putting out a fire with a garden hose.
Final seconds of the fight. Big shot by Guida. Guida continuing to the final bell. Wow!
This fight was a reminder that sometimes being composed and patient wins the game, not just sheer chaos. 3. Burns vs. Chimaev. A fight for the ages. When Khamzat Chimaev entered the UFC, he was like a freight train running over every opponent. He was knocking everyone out so fast, you'd think he was fighting on fast forward. Then came Gilbert Burns, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu wizard, who was like, "Nope, not today." Chimaev came out looking like he was going to steamroll Burns, but Burns wasn't having it. He took Chimaev's best shots like a guy who forgot to wear his fragile sticker. As the fight progressed, Burns decided to show Chimaev that he's not a punching bag for the UFC's shiny new star. Burns started landing solid strikes and defending Chimaev's takedowns like a bouncer not letting you into the club after hours. By round 3, Burns was like, "Okay, so you thought you could finish me off in 5 minutes? How cute." Despite Chimaev's early domination, Burns' heart and toughness had him turning the fight around. It wasn't the win, but the statement Burns made, "I'm still standing," that left a mark. Who needs a fast finish when you've got a marathon heart? Burns wasn't just surviving. He was making Chimaev rethink his whole game plan. The younger fighter came into the octagon thinking he was going to go 5-0, but Burns had other ideas. By the time the final bell rang, Chimaev looked more like a guy who had just finished his 12th round of a food fight, while Burns looked like a man who just had a casual Sunday jog. This wasn't just a fight, it was an MMA lesson in persistence. 4. Jones vs. Gustafsson. The Ultimate Showdown. Jon Jones vs. Alexander Gustafsson 1 is widely regarded as one of the greatest fights in UFC history. Jones, the reigning champ, was cruising through a 15-fight win streak like someone who was too good for everyone. But Gustafsson had other plans, landing strikes with the finesse of a ballet dancer throwing jabs, confusing Jon at every turn. By round 1, Gustafsson was the oh-snap moment of the fight, keeping Jones on the defensive and frustrating the champion like a kid who refuses to share his toys. But then, Jon Jones did what Jon Jones does best: adapt. He started using unorthodox strikes, elbows, and his awkward dancing style, which somehow works. By the championship rounds, Gustafsson was slowing down faster than a dial-up internet connection. Jones, on the other hand, turned the fight around like it was a video game with cheat codes. By the end, Jones' elbows and clever tactics earned him the victory. It wasn't just a fight, it was an "I'm Jon Jones, I don't lose" masterclass in overcoming adversity. No wonder Gustafsson couldn't keep up. He was still trying to figure out Jones' secret playbook. As the fight dragged on, Jones' ability to go from "oh, I might lose" to "I'm still the champ" was like watching a magic trick. 1 second, Gustafsson was landing punches, and the next second, Jones was in control like he'd pulled a rabbit out of a hat. And just like that, the fight went from "Gustafsson might win" to "Jones is untouchable." Classic Jon Jones. 5. Zhang vs. Jedrzejczyk. A dominant victory. Zhang Weili vs. Joanna Jedrzejczyk was a fight that had fans on the edge of their seats, and for good reason. Weili, who was on a dominant streak, faced one of the most skilled opponents in the division in Joanna. The first round was like a mini war zone, with Joanna's technical precision trying to overpower Zhang's raw power. It seemed like Zhang was struggling to find her footing, while Joanna was racking up points and looking pretty in control. But then Zhang said, "All right, enough of this," and started pushing the pace like she was late for dinner. She took Joanna's best shots and somehow turned it into an aggressive power game that even Joanna couldn't deal with. By the later rounds, Zhang's power advantage was as clear as a well-made cocktail. Refreshing, potent, and packing a punch. Her ability to push through the struggles showed her championship mentality. Weili didn't just win, she made a statement, proving that sometimes sheer power and determination are all you need to change the course of a fight. Zhang was like, "I came, I saw, I conquered." And Joanna, well, she might still be wondering what hit her. These are just a few examples of how a fight can turn around in an instant. It's all about heart, skill, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. Who do you think has had the best comeback in MMA history? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content.